All right, everyone, we'll get this started. Dana apologized. He actually intended to be here. Things ran a little long, and he's actually got to get out of here. So I've got some information for you, and then we'll open it up to questions. As you know, UFC 127 sold out in 22 minutes, which equals the fastest sellout in UFC history. That still stands. And it was also the fastest sellout in Acer Arena in Ticket Tech history. The attendance today was 18,186. The gate was 3.5 million. That's a million more than we did last year. We broke our own record for gate. Fight of the night, each of these got $75,000. Fight of the night was Eversult and Lytle. Kyle Note gets submission of the night. And knockout of the night was Mark Hunt. As you know, Jamie Tahuna, who is not with us, actually donated his fight purse. The UFC is matching that for the relief in New Zealand. We're also still taking bids for the UFC 127 memorabilia. We expect to approach $30,000 as part of the donation for the Queensland flood relief. Just some quick injuries. Tom Blackledge broke a small bone in his hand and will be flying back to England in the morning. So we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. I would like to ask that you wait until you have a microphone in your hand before you ask your question, and we'll go ahead and open it up. I see a hand here.
Michael, after a fight, Dana White came up to you and said something. What did he say?
I'm trying to remember now, you know what I mean? At the time, the adrenaline was running very, very high. I think he just told me to keep my cool because, you know, I was very excited, you know what I mean? The Hoya Rivera, he's a good opponent, and you know, respected him going into the fight. But he said a few things, and you know, it really hit a nerve with me. And I bit my tongue and didn't say anything, but kind of lost control a little bit, you know. And I'm apologetic for that. I shouldn't have done that. So yeah, he just told me to keep it cool.
What did you think of the fight?
Say that again.
What did you think of the fight, the performance?
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought it was a good performance. I mean, as I said, I respect Jorge. I trained accordingly. I know he's been around the game for a long time, and you know, he's fought. You know, he gave Anderson Silva a good fight, he gave Rich Franklin a good fight. So I knew it was no walk in the park, and you know, I was preparing for a hard fight like I always do. And you know, I kind of thought I had his number. You know, I was getting the takedowns good in the second round. I hit him with the right hand. I could see he was wobbled, and it was time to try and put it on a little bit and try and go for the finish.
Got a hand here.
Hi, as Mr. Weissland here, can I ask you a question? The impressive performance of all the Australian fighters. When are we going to get an Australian Ultimate Fighter household? We had Kyle in there, which was great, but he's quite reserved. I think you need to see it, and that's fantastic, by the way. But we think you need to see the wild side of the Aussie fighters. So, what's the chance of getting one over here?
Look, we've been trying to put together an Ultimate Fighter England versus a team from Australia, and we're getting very close with some networks in the UK and here. But I wouldn't imagine that being any time, you know, within this year. But we're certainly looking at it. I think it would be a big success.
This is for John and BJ. With GSP fighting Jake Shields coming up and the possibility of him moving to middleweight, what would you guys think of a rematch, possibly for a vacant welterweight belt?
I think that'd be a great idea. I'd be down for that. I think it'd be a good fight.
I think I can understand where John's coming from, but I think you need one more win over John before I get a shot at a title.
And just for Kyle, can you just talk us through how you're feeling getting the fight at home and just a bit of reaction for your win?
You know, I'm excited, you know, to get this win at home in front of an Aussie crowd is phenomenal for me. You know, it's a dream come true, so I'm happy right now.
And Mark Hunt, pretty impressive win, knockout of the night. Talk us through, you've had a bit of a mixed bag in your MMA career, you've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm very happy. It's been a long time between drinks for me. But yeah, I'm really happy I won.
All right, go ahead down there.
for you, Marshall. I was just wondering, where do you go from here with all the records that are broken? You know, got 129 coming up, 55,000 in the stadium. You've got no problem selling tickets here. I mean, is there a plan in the future to go bigger in Australia?
Look, I think the ticket sales in Toronto were obviously massive. We're putting a lot of energy to ensure the production delivers to the fans. It'll be interesting to see the fan experience there, but we're very optimistic. There's an arena here in Australia, in Melbourne, the Etihad, which has a roof. It's about 55,000. I have no doubt that if we can figure out the issue in Victoria, that would be a place for an event, and I think that we would sell out just as quickly as we did in Canada.
Well, now that the government's just changed, hopefully we can get that legislation pushed through so that we can legalise it down there.
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing for those that don't know is Victoria actually allows MMA, but just doesn't allow it in a cage. It's like saying you can play tennis on grass, but not play. And so we're making real good progress. We had meetings all this week. We're going to continue to have meetings, and I'm optimistic that we can get something shaken loose within the next couple months.
Any word on return to Japan? Everything seems to have gone quiet.
It shouldn't be. I mean, I think that, you know, we're incubating a lot of new territories. I actually hadn't intended to, but I'm going back to Nevada now, and Las Vegas. We'll sit down, we're going to look at the calendar for the second half of the year, and ask me in a couple of weeks, I'll have a better answer. Question?
Question from Michael. The back.
On the left.
Talked to Rivera's camp after the fight, and they think that your knee was deliberate, and that coupled with the apparent spitting towards his corner, they think you should be suspended. I just want to get your take on that, your comment in response.
Well, you know, I mean, just surprised me, really. Just one class has moved up to another, I suppose. The knee certainly wasn't on purpose, you know. I mean, you get excited in the heat of the fight. He was getting up off the ground. I had him in a tight clinch. I was waiting to time it and to knee him in the head. I got a little overexcited and I pulled the trigger too early. You know, it happens quite a lot. You know, it's a fast-moving sport. I certainly didn't mean to do it, and I was very glad that the fight was able to continue. You know, I mean, no one wants to see a fight won or lost, you know, in that fashion. You know, regarding after the fight, you know, there was a lot of emotions. You know, I mean, he was very, very insulting towards me. You know, very insulting. You know, he was mocking me on the internet, saying all kinds of things, making stupid videos, talking about myself and my family, all kinds of stuff. You know, and I bit my tongue and I said nothing, but it just kind of blew up. You know, built up inside me, and you know, I blew up a little bit. And you know, I apologise for that. I shouldn't have behaved like that. And you know, but I think he just needs to accept he got beat and get over it.
That was a good question here.
Hi, Anthony Spree. Going into the fight, what was running through your head, and now that you've succeeded, what next for you?
Yeah, everyone tells me, you know, don't let the pressure get to you, but you know, seeing at the table, you know, all the other Aussies, they all had wins. You know, Kyle Noak had wins, and Geordie's doing well, and James Cahoon's doing well, and you know, there's that pressure. I wanted that first win in the UFC, and now it's just, you know, I want to keep moving up that ladder and see how far I can go.
Question for BJ, over on the left, BJ. You mentioned going into when you went to the judges, you thought you'd lost. Were you preparing yourself to retire from the UFC?
What's that, sir?
Were you preparing yourself to retire from the UFC had you lost the decision?
I don't know what was really running through my head as soon as the fight was done. A million different things were running through my head. But a couple of people asked me, did I say before this fight this was my last fight?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm still, you know, I'm just still up in the air and still just kind of disappointed that I gave away the third round like that.
And a quick question for John. John, obviously very deflating. How do you feel after a result like that?
I mean, I'm disappointed in myself. I feel like I performed much better. I could have prepared a lot better. Regardless of how the judges scored it, I expect more of myself.
George. George, you're still one of our favorite fighters. You go according to plan tonight. What was the plan? Dennis scored as you thought he would.
Look, Dennis is he's a kickboxer, and that's how he fights, that's his style, and I was wanting to get down the ground, which is probably worse for him than best for me. And his takedown defense was pretty good. He was, slipping out of the single, and he was maintaining a good distance, and he was able to stick to his plan. And it wasn't my night tonight.
BJ, Jesse. Heading into the fight, the conventional wisdom was kind of that you'd want to keep the distance, kind of strike the pitch, and pitch would be looking to take you down all the time. Can you talk about your strategy to take the wrestling to him?
Yeah, I just kind of got over trying to box people and then run away and stuff. And I'm a grappler myself, and I'm gonna continue to, if I fight with somebody, I'm gonna continue to try to take them down and punch them. I'm gonna try to do both.
And Fish, how did the strategy of Penn surprise you?
No, it was an excellent strategy. It threw me off, and it took me at least the way through the second round to really get my focus back and start to counter wrestle. Really get that wrestling mind frame got involved. And I kind of had it too much in my head. I think that he was playing on counter boxing. I think that slowed down the progress of what I wanted to really do.
One question for Dennis. Dennis, für dich war das ein ganz, ganz schwerer Kampf, vielleicht der wichtigste Kampf deiner Karriere. Was war für dich die größte Herausforderung, gegen George anzutreten? Und wie hast du es geschafft, dass dich überhaupt nicht zu Boden bekommen konnte? In English, Dennis, this was obviously the biggest fight of your career so far. How did you deal with the fact that George has such great grappling on the ground, and how did you train to keep him from taking you down?
Ja gut, ganz klar, wir haben sehr viel Takedown auf Pferd trainiert, sehr viel mit den Ringern trainiert. Ich habe die ganze Zeit versucht, mein Gameplan zu behalten, so wie es ist, so wie es geplant war, und das habe ich durchsetzen können. Und die größte Herausforderung war überhaupt hier nach Australien zu kommen. Die ganze Zeitumstellung und alles, das war auch alles nicht leicht. Aber wir haben es zum Glück geschafft.
We trained a lot of takedown defenses, you could see this, and yes, it was a big problem for us to fight here in Australia because of the jet lag, but in the end we managed it, and we are glad to do it.
Quick question for you, Mike. Trash talking is part of the game, but did you ever feel that what Jorge and his camp did basically lit a fire under you that made you train even harder?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, it motivated me, made me train harder. Trash talk is part of the game, and so you've got to take that on the chin sometimes. I could have done a little bit better. I did let it get to me too much, and, as I said, I apologise for that, but I'm an emotional guy, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and everything that comes out of my mouth, I mean from my heart. I haven't sat down with anyone and thought about the right things to say, you know what I mean? It's not none of it's an act, I am who I am, and he got on my nerves, he upset me, and he embarrassed me, he was mocking me all over the world on the internet, and but I should have been the bigger man and maybe took it on the chin a little bit better.
And final question for you, Mark. Now, the first couple of fights in the UFC didn't quite go as you had planned. Did you feel that this fight was a turning point in your UFC career?
I haven't won a fight in so long. It's been, like I said, it was great to win. It's been like a long time between drinks for me, a long time. Turning point, I won, especially my own home. I'm thankful and I'm grateful. So.
Marshall, just back. Marshall, given wins to Brian Ebersol and Mark Hunt, what does that? Do they get fight contracts straight away? Does that give you paint a picture? How does that work?
Look, that's a decision that Joe and Daniel make. I don't really know what the thinking is on that, but obviously Ebersol coming in on a short notice, he really stepped up. But I'll leave that.
They're under contract. Everybody who fights us.
There you go. Everyone for us is under contract.
Mark, you live in Sydney, but most recently back home in New Zealand, they've had a pretty tough time. Must be a good feeling to know that you might have brought some spirits back there as well.
Yeah, fighting spirit. It's very sad. I'm originally from New Zealand, of course, but I would donate all my money there, but I've got a lot of bills to pay and the taxman's always calling, so times are pretty rough around the world, so not just for me too, so.
George, sorry, just one final question. George, after that loss, you had such a great run. What do you do now? Is it just business as usual for you, or do you reassess a couple of things?
You know, when things go well for people, it's easy to get back on the horse and continue doing what you're doing. And you know, when things don't go your way, you just got to do the same thing. So for me, it'll be business as usual. I'll get back to work, and you know, I'll revise footage and where I went wrong, and you know, look to make some adjustments and continue to do what I do.
Marshall, given that the biggest boo tonight was for Michael Bisping coming in, and the biggest cheer was when Kyle Noak rear naked choked Chris Camozzi, does that set up perhaps natural coaches for a tough series in your mind between England and Australia?
I don't want to speculate about anything right now. I mean, obviously, you know, they're both very, very good fighters, talented fighters. It would make some sense, but I wouldn't speculate one way or another.
Thank you. John, you said on Wednesday, after the fight, whether your style, whether you deserve a title fight. Can you open your heart and talk to us about, do you think deep down you're ever going to get one?
I mean, I don't know right now. I'm awfully disappointed with my performance. I don't know, I expect more, and I should have put on a better show and performed better tonight to make that the question no one had to ask. So I don't know. I have to leave it up to the bosses and see what they want to do with me.
So you're not going back to becoming a meat eater then, no?
No, the diet worked out great, I think. Had nothing to do with my performance. Actually, I didn't even get tired of the fight. I think it was just something was holding me back. I don't know. I should have turned it on a lot sooner.
Thank you. And finally, a question for Dennis. Dennis, you comprehensively beat George tonight, who I think showed a brilliant Australian mongrel in him as well. He came out with great honours in that third round, I thought. And, do you feel you should really be moved up in the lightweight division now? You're on a bit of a rip at the moment, and you're a very dangerous opponent for anyone in the division. Oliver, can you translate that, please?
Wenn ich das alles richtig verstanden habe, hat er gesagt, dass du momentan also wirklich eine Herausforderung bist. Nach dem Kampf hast du da gezeigt, dass du eben für jeden in dieser Division. Siehst du das auch so?
Ja, da haben Sie vollkommen recht. Ich denke, dass ich für jeden gefährlich bin. Ich habe auch schon mit den Besten der Welt gekämpft, oder gegen die Besten der Welt gekämpft und gar nicht so schlecht ausgesehen, nicht immer zumindest. Und ja, ich hoffe, dass ich mit diesem Kampf mich weiter nach vorne geschossen habe und weiterhin große Kämpfe machen kann.
I fought against maybe the best fighters here in the world in the UFC, and I hope I could improve my skills here with this fight against George Rodriguez, and keep on fighting.
Michael, you fought twice to the cheers of Bisping to Wanker. Now, if you were an American, you probably wouldn't understand that, but as an Englishman, you do. So, firstly, how does that feel? By the way, it's been changing. People have been actually cheering now, which is nice too. And secondly, can you confirm? I've heard rumors that you'll be moving to Australia potentially, opening a Wolves there. How is that going to affect the scene in Australia?
Well, I couldn't answer that, but my girlfriend's Australian. Ever since I've been with her, she's been nagging me constantly to move down here. And, you know, I probably at some point will spend more time. But I'm English and proud to be English and proud of where I come from. But as I said, you know, I'm going to have to buckle to pressure at some point. So we're probably going to get a place down here. But I'll still be training on the Wolves there, and you know, I'll just be spending a little bit of time down here in between fights.
Well done, Carl. How's it feel?